Hi everyone, today we will talk about cell division. My team is Valentina Amaro, Regina Parra, Rebeca Ramirez, and me, Carlita. What is the cell division? The cell division is a process when your cells divide. It made an incredible process named mitosis, where it have 4 stages: the prophase, the metaphase, the anaphase, and the telophase. This is what made that your cells divide. We will explain in detail each one later. The objective is make identical cells exactly as they are identical. Why? Because if not, you can have problems mentally, physical, anything that can happen wrong. Your body will not be as is right now. There's a part when your cells check that everything's going okay. If they don't check correctly, that's when you can have a problem. And if they see that they have a problem, they kill themselves. Why? To don't make damage. Because if only one cell is bad and have something wrong, when it divides, it will pass to the other cell and will be bad again and bad and bad and bad and like that. Cell division is why you're in the conditions you are. If you have syndrome, an extra finger, or a mental problem, that's because your cells. This can pass in humans, animals, plants, in any living organism that can exist. As you see, cell division helps us in a lot of things. Without cell division, probably we will not be here. Well, that's the cell division and the incredible things that can help us to make in our body. It is essential in us.
Now, let's get to the importance of this topic. I know dividing can be a lot of work, but trust me, it's totally worth it. Let me tell you why. First, we help our person grow. Remember when our human was a tiny baby? That was because there weren't many of us yet. But thanks to the cell division, we've made more and more of ourselves. That's how our human gets taller and stronger. Then, we're like little doctors. When our human gets a cut or a bruise, we jump into action. We divide and make fresh new cells to fix the skin and help it heal. Without us, injuries will stay forever. Next, we help with reproduction. That means making new life. Special cells like us divide in a different way to create brand new humans. We're part of something much bigger. Fourth, we replace old or dead cells. Some cells don't last forever, like skin cells or blood cells. So we divide to make fresh ones and keep the body working right. And fifth, we help keep the body balanced. If we didn't divide, some body parts wouldn't get the right number of cells. Division helps organ, muscles, and skin stay healthy and strong. So, the next time you're about to divide, don't sigh, celebrate. We're not just tiny things floating around. We're life makers, healers, and lifesavers. Keep dividing, team. The whole team is counting on you.
Okay guys, let's learn the cell cycle. The cell cycle is a process that helps us to our division and duplication of cells. Let's learn the name of each step. G0 phase is when we aren't dividing or just waiting for the division. But some types of cells, like nerve cells, cardiac cells, island cells, cannot divide, cannot reproduce, or they divide very slowly. We start the process in G1 phase, and it is when we have a normal function and we grow a little bit. And at the end, G1 checks if DNA is damaged. Then our second step is when S phase is really interesting. Is when the human DNA is replicating, and at the end of S phase, we check that DNA is replicating correctly. And at the end, there is G2 phase, is when we are preparing for the division and additionally growing. And at the ending, it checks if DNA has replicated correctly, if DNA is damaged, and if it is, can it be repaired?
Okay guys, so to explain this, we'll use pictures so you can understand better this topic. Like, it's a very complex topic, so you may pay attention. You need to know that the cells we need to make 4 parts in the mitosis, and that the mitosis is just a little part of all our cell life. And the purpose of this is to make a copy of our DNA identically. Okay, now that you know this, I will explain the first part of the mitosis, that is the longest part. So I will divide it in 2 parts. Okay, so all start in the nucleus where the chromatin condenses. Then these chromatins transform into chromosomes that are 2 sister chromatins, and these are joined by a centrome. Okay, so when this already happened, the nucleus starts to disappear. Then we made the mitotic spindle. Then these 2 mitotic spindles go to different poles of the cell. Here we end with the first part, that is the prophase. Okay, so let's go to the second part of this phase. So in this part, the nucleus totally disappears. Okay, so this helps so the mitotic spindles can interact with the chromosomes. But before they can interact, the chromosomes need to go in the middle of us. And this second part of the first phase is called prometaphase. Okay, we already finished the first phase. Let's go to the second phase. In this phase, the chromosomes totally align in the metaphase plate, like that is in the middle of us, and form an imaginary line. Then each chromosome attached to one spindle of the mitotic spindle. And here we have our checkpoint, that is to review that all the chromosomes are perfectly attached to each spindle. And here we end with the second phase, that is called metaphase. Let's go to the third phase, that is called anaphase. In this phase, the centromes split so they can make the 2 sister chromatids. In this phase, the sister chromatids go to opposite poles, and when this happens is when it starts the last phase. In this phase occurs all the opposite about what happened in first phase. First of all the sister chromatins join so they can make the nucleus again. And when the nucleus is already done, the sister chromatins are transformed in chromatin, and the mitotic spindle disappears. This phase is called telophase, and this is the last step of the mitosis. But wait, we missed the last part, that is when the cells transform into 2 different cells. When the cells are already done, the cell make like is one cell, so in the middle of them it makes like pressure, so the 2 cells can split into 2 different cells. And that's it.
We have already talked about how amazing cell division is. But did you know that sometimes things can go wrong during division? It's true. We're usually pretty good at copying our DNA and splitting the right way. But once in a while, mistakes happen. One big mistake is when the DNA is copied wrong. Our DNA is like a giant instruction book. If there's a typo or missing piece, the new cell might not work right. Or worse, it might not work at all. Another problem is when we divide too much. That can create way too many cells in one spot, which the body doesn't need. When this happens, it can lead to things like tumors. Some tumors are harmless, but others can turn into cancer, which is very serious and can make our human really sick. Sometimes a cell might divide at the wrong time or in the wrong place. That can confuse the body and make organs or tissues not work what they should. These mistakes can be dangerous, but the good news is the body has ways to catch and fix many of them. These are special cells and proteins whose job is to check our work. If something looks wrong, they try to fix it, or even stop the cell from dividing again. So, what's the lesson? Let's always take our job seriously. Cell division is not just about splitting, it's about protecting life. When we get it right, we help our human grow, heal, and stay strong. We may be small, but what we do makes a big difference. So, let's stay focused, stay careful, and keep dividing the right way.